Hey, and welcome back to Sheen Webisodes. I'm your host, the Free Bud, and today we are having a very special guest, as always, joining us here. I'm excited to introduce Azucena Morales. She's the founder of Lillium Flos. She's a sustainable fashion designer and a passionate advocate for inclusivity. Susanna brings such a powerful story to the conversation. She's a proud Mexican American, a City College of San Francisco student, and a chronic pain warrior who continues to push boundaries in the fashion space. So, we actually got connected through our shared passion for sustainability in fashion. And right away, I knew her mission and vision needed to be spotlighted here on the Zayshin Webisodes. In today's episode, you'll hear Azucena's inspiring journey from learning to sew as a kid to transforming everyday items like curtains and bed sheets into beautiful dresses and to launching a brand that proves fashion can be both stylish and sustainable. She'll also share her tips to creating sustainable style on a budget and how she's working to make fashion truly inclusive to everyone. And I believe that's such a wonderful thing. I mean, a lot of people say sustainable fashion is not affordable, and she's working on that. It's going to be a fascinating conversation about sustainability, culture, and the power of fashion to create change. So let's jump in and welcome Azucena Morales to the show. Today we have a wonderful guest, and yeah, Azucena, welcome to our show on Zayshin Webisodes.
Thank you so much for bringing me. So very honored to be invited to
No,
the
it is
show.
our pleasure to have you on Zayshin Webisodes. So please explain about yourself and what you do, and we're very curious to know about that.
Yeah, so I am a Mexican American born here in the California and have been obsessed with fashion since I was like 7. Growing up, I saw a lot of culture mixing in fashion, and I just want to spread that because there's sustainable practices, native practices, there's sustainable practices in like traditional Mexican and Nicaraguan. There's also my own sustainable practices that I've like developed over the years. And right now I'm going to school to try to grow my ability in the fashion design and understanding of fashion design, how much more we can make it
Wow,
sustainable.
that's awesome. So you said you're a Mexican American. So I'm actually curious to know about more about the Mexican culture. So how does the Mexican culture overall and regarding the sustainability that we call as a buzzword, but it's natural in your culture? What are the things?
Yeah, so you have the traditional like otomo embroidery, which is kind of like you have the traditional Mexican dresses that you see with all the
Mm-hmm.
embroidery work,
Yes.
but that embroidery work is also used in patchwork. Like you use that to patch up your clothes throughout the years instead of buying a new pair of pants. You just add a nice design on them instead. Or, you can even get creative with like instead of floral, you can get 3D dimensional. And like growing up, I saw my grandma doing that a lot. Like my great grandma was always doing patchwork on everybody's stuff, fixing it by like doing men's rather than being like, yeah, let's go to the market and buy you a new dress. She'd be like, no, mija, I got it. We can fix this. And like just seeing that growing up, that's like a part of the sustainability is not throwing
Exactly.
away and not immediately going to buy new, being like, hey, we can kind of make it new by doing
Mm-hmm.
this. And like with that embroidery work, you have it in everything, like in the women's Mexican cultural dress
Yes.
wear. You have it on all their layers on the hupa, which is the dress that is the most common known that you see in like all of Baja California. And then you have the skirts. And then you have the repaso, which is the shawl that a lot of older Mexican women wear that are like real and lace work. It's once again with hands. They made this with their hands and they're trying to make it last as long as
Wow.
possible. And just growing up seeing that and like being a part of that and watching like all the older women sitting and in Mexican culture there's a time of the day called
Okay.
cafecito, which is basically the time of day where the group of women like around 4 or 5 o'clock, so kind of like around now, um, you would get together, you'd sit down, you'd have your coffee, your bread, and you would do some embroidery work or like just talk. And it's just like
Like a woman time, like a
it's a
lady's
bonding
time.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a ladies'
Mm-hmm.
time. Yeah, but it's also bringing in the embroidery work, like showing like, oh, let me teach you how I did this, because I would sit there and I wasn't allowed to do any of the embroidery work because I was too little, and they were like, you're gonna hurt
Right.
yourself because the needles can be real
Mm-hmm.
long and sharp
Yeah.
sometimes. Uh, I would just sit there and I would watch like my grandma give people techniques, and then my great grandma give other people like, oh, you did a good job. Maybe try it this way. And like just seeing the generational like understanding of it and
Wow.
it just developing and
The
growing.
heritage they're just
It's great.
passing on to the next generations or the people they're around, right? Wow. So what was the
Yeah.
best thing you loved about this, the style or the process of the making? What was the thing that fascinated you the most?
I think the thing that fascinated me the most is the embroidery work. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm talking
Right.
about it a lot. It's because it's not only in the
Mm-hmm.
women's wear, it also is in the men's wear. So, like, I don't know if you've seen any of the traditional Mexican men uh, dress shirts. They have like a diagonal, vertical lines of
Wow.
embroidery. So I love it because it's not something that is for just one group of the culture. It's something that unites everybody, brings the men into it, brings the women, brings the kids.
Exactly.
It's very much a bonding thing. And once again, bringing it to like the culture and sustainability, like you win a lot of stuff if you just pay attention to your elders. You learn a lot about like how they had to survive, and a lot of how they had to survive is actually sustainable practices. So like
Exactly.
just doing those practices to enrich the
Mm-hmm.
future is like, I mean, for me personally, I really enjoyed it, and I'm now a proud Mexican American growing up seeing
Mm-hmm.
all that. So like it instills kind of a self of self. It instills a like understanding of sustainable practices. And I have to say, seeing that growing up did probably influence how I feel about the fashion, like fast fashion industry. It's because I was like, why are we buying more clothes when Abuela can just
Right.
fix it? Why are we doing this when Abuela can just make you one? Why are you making a crocheted thing when Tia Chin can just whip one out in like
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes like a freaking
Exactly.
ninja?
I mean, when you that also supports a slow fashion in the meantime. When you're putting and you're making with your hand and you're putting your time and efforts into it, of course you're not gonna throw that out the next day or month or even I would say years to come. You're gonna just reuse it, and
Yeah,
if something happened, you torn or you did something, the grandma gonna fix it again, or whatever your wife or
yeah,
your mother, they're gonna fix it. They're like, oh yeah, we put a lot of efforts in this. You ain't gonna throw that out, so let us fix that. Wow.
exactly.
Now, of course, I love the tradition of doing the embroidery, and on our side, it's the same thing. Um, a lot of grandmas and people do the handcrafted things and all that stuff. Of course, they don't have any cell phones too at that time, or even though now they're not so interested.
Yeah,
They believe more in doing the hand job, the handwork. So they're much
yeah.
more better. But are you still in? I'm curious to know. Are you still in any part of the ladies' time group? What else? you guys do at that time beside the embroidery?
I besides the embroidery during that woman's time, it's just gossiping. It's just talking about like what's happening in your
Okay.
life, what's happening in your cousin's life. It's just a family bonding experience, basically. Like, hey, did you hear about cousin blah 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 and how their boyfriend did something crazy? Or did you hear that your prima finally graduated
Okay.
college? It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of where you find out the family
Ah,
business is during that
I see. I
time.
see. One of the any hilarious thing you could remember or any story that you discussed during that time or you heard about it.
Like the most like shocking thing for me was finding out we have a cousin who she always comes to family
Hmm.
events, and I was really young during this time, so I didn't fully understand what LGBTQ stood for or what
Okay.
it was. Um, and everybody was talking about a
Hmm.
closet and how she came out of it.
Okay.
And when I was younger, I used to hide in closets because I like, I don't know, a sense of
Hmm.
security. They were small and
Right.
confined. Uh, I thought they were talking about like she was hiding in the closet, like how I did. And I was like, oh, I came out of the closet too.
Wow.
I was probably like 7, 8 when that
Okay.
happened. My grandma had a heart attack. She was like, what do you
Oh,
mean? You're coming out of the closet. I didn't know we had more than one girl who liked girls. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, no, that's where I was earlier. I was in the closet. I thought she was in a
okay.
closet. And and then they had to explain to me exactly what a woman loving a woman
Oh, I
is. And
see.
they were like, oh, like they were a little like, oh my
Hmm.
God. Because, it's not something you normally
Exactly.
talk
Especially in the
about.
old times, it
And
wasn't so, kind of in the talks.
yeah, exactly. So the fact that they were talking about it, like already, like as an adult, I'm like, oh wow, I'm
Hmm.
surprised. But as a kid, I was like, oh, closets are nice. They're
Yeah,
that's where
that's
the
where I
clothes
go
are
to.
at. That's very
Yeah.
meditative. Yeah, that's where I like to go to like be with myself. So I thought my cousin was the same
Wow,
way.
that's a unique story. Wow, that's amazing. So I love that. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to go now, and especially we don't have that kind of anymore, especially in the US. And if we do, we are just so busy
Yeah.
with our lives to go back and sit with the older people, actually learn from their experiences of their lives, and we can implement that. We're too busy now.
Mm. I'll sorry.
Yeah.
I always believe if you have the opportunity to pick your grandma or your great
Mhm.
grandma or even like an older aunt, like pick their
Hmm.
brain. They definitely have some knowledge that can be useful to you.
Well, no, of course. I mean, sometimes even right now I'm young. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I have so much more knowledge than my parents or my, grandparents. But, I'm not at that point of a life where they went through, even though they don't have any technologies back then, but they went through life. So they have experiences, they faces the things that I could not imagine even now, and they've been all the
Yeah.
process, they know, so we could learn from them. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a culture thing that I love about the things. It's some people feel like it's boring, but I don't think so. If you have interest or if you're seeking to learn more how people think about, so I think it's an interesting topic to do your research or sit with them, just have some fun, see how they
Yeah.
think and how you think, compare that. Wow. Exactly. So
Exactly.
now I'm going to talk about when we had an intro call, you were telling me about how you started and how you got into sewing the clothes. And I could
Yeah.
imagine a little bit how you were sitting, next to them and see how they, doing the handcraft, but how did you start sewing the clothes and how was your journey about that?
So I didn't realize that I loved fashion until my big sister she went to
Okay.
FITM here in San
Hmm.
Francisco, she would bring her homework with her, like on weekends, on winter vacation, like stuff like that. She would bring schoolwork with her. And seeing her do that work just made me go, I want to do that. I want to make clothes. I want to learn how to make clothes. And like I'd bug her every time she was over, be like, well, what is that? How do you do that? Why are you doing that? And like she would answer it, little sister, kind of annoying. She's trying to do homework, but also at the same time, I'm wanting to learn. And she is learning herself. And the best way to learn is to teach. So she was teaching me when I was about 10. So we decided I wanted to make my first ever like own thing. We made a Halloween costume. She helped me cut out the pattern. She helped me cut the fabric. Like she told me how to do everything in detailed steps. And because I was still so young, they were like, you can't touch the sewing machine, but you can look and watch us do the sewing machine. So she helped me sew my first ever like dress by having me do the stay stitching with my hand, by having me do the ruffling up of the skirt by hand. I was about 10.
Very young.
Yeah, I was about 10. So yeah, very young. And when I did that, when we made that dress together, after that, I was like, this, I like this. I want to do this. This is so interesting. This is so fun. And then she came home one day with an assignment about Coco Chanel. And I was like, I want to be like that. I want my brand to become worldwide. I want to be a brand that people look up to, that are like, hey, that's somebody who's leading the fashion industry. Like, I was like, I love that. I want to do that. And kind of just went off from there. I got in contact with FITM. I was like, hey, what do I need to be accepted into your school as soon as I graduate high school? Like, I was in barely starting middle school when I contacted them, and they were like, you have a little bit of time. And I was like, yeah, but I want to make sure my transcript looks like the best transcript you've ever seen. And you're going to go, yes, we want that.
You
girl
did that
in our
after
school.
you designed your first piece, or you did a couple of more and then you got confident and then you applied for it? How was that?
I did a couple more. And then I was like, yeah, I did do this. Like, I didn't make any more. I didn't make like any more like extravagant dresses like me and my sister did, because like I only had my hand. My parents were like, you cannot have a sewing machine. There, no sewing machine. You're still too little.
I agree with them. I remember one time my cousin, he was messing with the sewing machine and he got his finger inside the machine and the needle got, oh gosh.
Yeah. No, I will say I am grateful for them for that. I got my first sewing machine at 13, and I probably like started sewing the Christmas that I got it. I think I opened it. I got the machine out and I was like, okay, gonna start making things. But before that, it was by hand. So like I was learning how even stitches need to be, how uneven for it to actually be a workable garment, because like if the stitches are too loose, it's not gonna work. And I had to learn that. And I learned that like not only by bugging my sister while she was at school, being like, Mom, can I call Charlotte? And my mom being like, well, you gotta wait, she's in class. Maybe when she gets out of class. And then, Charlotte, how do I do this? And she'll be like, oh, you can't do this because you need a machine or you don't have the tool to do it. So this is how you do it. So she would try to give me tips with the limited access that I was available with. But when I turned 13 and got that first sewing machine.
At that time?
When I was 13, yes. We like YouTube just started to get into like it's really informative, like it has a lot of stuff on there. I did try to YouTube a lot of stuff, but I was a kid and parental consent is very much a thing. And we had a room designated for the computer.
Yeah, I remember that time.
So my dad could make sure what we're doing on the computers.
My first computer was in my parents'
and the
room.
rule.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's literally it's the room right next to my
Yes.
parents' room, so my dad could just like pop his head in
Yeah.
real quick if he
Yeah.
needed to. Um, but my parents had a rule: you couldn't use the computer till you were 15 for social purposes, for recreational
Right.
purposes. If you needed for school, then
Wow.
okay. But they did consider my wanting to learn a recreational thing. They're like, you don't have to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
So trial and error, baby. You
Yeah.
got this.
Wow. No, I'm also thinking that
So
we are the part of the across the world. I was from the Asia side, and you were here, and our parents were so similar. We got so many similarities and so many restrictions that are the same. So wow, that's awesome. Or maybe that's a parent thing, you know.
but I honestly think it's a generational thing. I think our parents' generation were like, okay, our parents were way too
But
lenient with us because our
but
parents had the "Where's your
nah,
kid
of
at
course,
10 o'clock?"
at that time they were not connected. They didn't know what happening or what the culture is in Asia, or we don't know what's culture in the America or
Yeah,
South or North America. We didn't know that.
yeah, that's
Yeah, and
true.
there's no YouTube that we could watch the videos how those people live or what they do. Yeah, exactly.
How the lives were,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. That's amazing. So,
yeah. That
okay, no, I cut you off. You were saying something?
No, 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 you're good. I was just gonna say, like, yeah, so I started sewing
Mm-hmm.
really young and just been doing it since then and have been obsessed with every step and like learning different types of
Mm-hmm.
ways to sew and not only like to sew, but different ways to like create a garment because you have the textile industry, you have the screen printing industry, you have the actual like seamstress industry. So like there's so many different routes that you can
Right.
create
Right.
clothing.
Wow. Nowadays it's just so easy. I mean, it's nowadays it's up to us. If we want to do something,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
just have to move. We just have to take action. The knowledge and all the resources are there. We just have to go and grab them and put our efforts in. That's the only thing.
Agreed.
But
Yeah.
back in not I'm not talking about 5 decades ago or 4 decades, just like a decade ago or two.
Like our
Yeah,
parents, like growing
exactly.
up.
So
Yeah.
2 3 decades ago, it was like very very unique situation than now. Now it's so accessible, all the things. So your
Yeah.
sister helped with the sewing journey. Who else was, and how how it looks like?
It's kind of like my mom would help like here
Mm-hmm.
and there. I mean, my mom was a
Mm-hmm.
working mom, so she didn't really have like she'd get home, she'd cook dinner, and she'd be like, "Okay, I'm
Okay.
tired. I just want to
Mm-hmm.
relax." Sometimes she'd have to bring work home
Okay.
with her, so like I would try to pick her brain and be like, "Hey, mom, how do I do this?" And she'd be like, "Oh, give me a second, figure it out, tell me." Or I'd be like, "Hey, mom, can you come to my room and tell me how I sewed this wrong because it's not
Right.
fitting right, and I don't know what I did." Then she'd come and she'd be like, "Okay, this is where you messed up," and like she'd give me some
Nice.
pointers. But other than my mom and my sister
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte, like learning to sew was a self
Mm.
journey. I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this. This is my
Right.
journey that I'm going on. I did enter school. Like as soon as I got to high school, I took FITM's require like suggestions of what classes I
Mm-hmm.
should take, and I got involved with um, FHA, which is the Future Homemakers of
Okay.
America, and they work on all domestic things like sewing, cooking, cleaning, like all the things that you would see a traditional housewife do. They have
Oh wow.
competitions for in the high
Mm-hmm.
school level. So designing was one of them. So I signed up for that, started joining doing design contests, signed up for any sewing class that the school offered, any sewing class that the junior college in the area offered. Because I was like, I want to learn how to do this as well as possible.
Wow, that's amazing. But yeah, that's where I was coming right after of the other people's support, because you have to be passionate about it. You have to be self learner to learn more, because not everyone can just mix it and just put it in your mouth and you drink it and you know everything. You have to do it's a whole self journey that you have to go through and learn about the
Oh yeah.
things. And especially I believe for the designers, and when you design things and you sew clothes, you have to think about it, you have to use your brain cells and all that. How, because sometimes I just get surprised how people think. And how did you come up with the ideas, or to sew something or to make a design with your hands and with not with much of the machines or equipments? um how you do that, I mean? or
Um, I mean, you can
or
find
I'm sorry, I'm cut you off, but like,
you.
or other things, how you also see other people, other designers, maybe you can understand them better than me, so you can tell me that.
So going into design school, because right now that is what I'm
Yeah.
going for, the one thing that they teach you is you're never going to be able to look at people the same. You're never going to be able to look at the way they're wearing their clothes the same, because you now know how the human body
Mm,
moves. You now understand how clothes should
okay.
fit versus how the standard industry size doesn't fit like actual
Mm,
like regular shaped
right.
people. um like So for me, my thought process has always been, okay, I see that this doesn't fit right. I want to do that. And when I started school and I got told that, I was like, oh my gosh. So I already was thinking like a designer. I was already thinking, oh, I see the way that person is dressed, but it would fit them better if it wasn't so tight around the belly, or it wasn't so tight around the
Mm,
chest, or it would fit them better if it was a straight pant instead of a flare pant. Like, you start to really like notice that. And I guess for me, because I started to love fashion so young, that developed really
mm-hmm.
early for me. But yeah, in the beginning of fashion school, they tell you like you're never going to be able to look at a piece of garment on a
Yeah,
person again, because you're kind of breaking it
exactly.
down. You're like,
I
okay,
totally get you.
you're seeing yeah, you're seeing the steps that they took to get there, and you're like, I know where they messed up. They messed up
That's
on
right.
this step. They didn't do this
That's
part.
actually one of the greatest point that you just mentioned, because it reminds me of my journey, because I'm a certified graphic designer. So when I became a graphic designer back in 2017, and whenever I go outside and then look at banners on the big banners or the social media advertising, I was like, so they blended from here, they use a gradient color, they use this tool in Photoshop or AI or whatever the thing is. So you kind of break it down. You don't see it as a design, you see what behind it, how the person think
Hmm.
about it to make that design or come up with that. Right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay, I'm
exactly what
glad.
I'm
Okay,
saying.
so there's some creativity in me too. I'm glad.
Yeah, there definitely is. I'm a strong believer. Everybody has some creativity in them and has the
Okay.
ability to be
Mm-hmm.
an artist. It's just a matter of sitting down and being like, hey, I'm gonna do
Hmm.
it, and I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna be proud of what I make, because nobody starts off perfect. Nobody starts off good. Nobody starts off excellent and like the top of their
Hmm.
field. Literally
Everyone.
everybody starts
Exactly. That's
shitty. Like everybody starts
exactly.
the
Not
bottom.
everyone. You look every successful person. They start from the bottom. They messed up with everything
Mm,
that they started, and then they learn. Of course, there's one thing that they never quit. They would just keep going, and that's how you
exactly.
learn, and that's how you grow. But that's actually a great point. If somebody believes, and as you mentioned, everybody's creative, how can they start? How they can find, or when they're sitting down, what are the first step they should do to start the process?
I think they already did it. They sat down. They started thinking
Okay.
about it. That's like the
Okay.
first step you
Yeah.
need to do is sit down and be like, hey, how can I tackle
Mhm.
this problem?
Oh wow.
And then it's like start try to get like be like, okay, if I can't think
Hmm.
of anything, think something crazy. Think of something that like that would be in the MCU or in DC world. Be like, you know what? If I had a superpower, this is what would
Hmm.
happen. And then be like, how can I make that superpower a
Right.
reality? Like, what about that superpower is super? Okay, what do we have in today's
Hmm.
world that can be equivalent to that
Hmm.
power? And then do
Yeah.
it. Like, I know it's easier said than done, but I truly believe, like, even when I'm in my own creative
Hmm.
rut, just start scribbling, just start making shapes, because it's all the human body is just shapes. We're a bunch of squares, cylinders, and circles. That's like all
Exactly.
we are. We're just some weird shapes put together.
Wow.
So just start making some shapes. Like, that's literally
That's
how I started. When I was
that's
7 years
amazing.
old, I was making like square
Okay.
dresses, triangle
Mm-hmm.
tops, and I legit thought that that's how you were supposed to sew.
Mm.
So like, I would cut out triangles to make the halter tops, like, and it worked to an extent. Um,
Wow.
like, it wasn't exactly stable because of my stitch work, but like shape wise, we our torsos are very like rectangular shape. You have the
Right.
chest, which is wider, and then you go down into your
Yes.
hips, which is an upside down
Mm.
triangle. So just do shapes. It's like, honestly, the best way to start is just start randomly putting together some random stuff. Eventually, something's gonna look good.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that's creative. I mean, you break it down so well. So, if a person's starting right now, you told the first steps that he or she has to do, and after that, what are the resources you would suggest? Even, I mean, if they can go to college, they can go to any facility to get the classes, or they don't have the access to go somewhere by physically. What are the resources they could search for online that help them to start?
Well, you did already say one. Growing up, I unfortunately did not have
Hmm.
access to YouTube, but YouTube has so many great tutorials on how to sew. They even have like certain, I think honestly, Brother Jujuki and Singer, all three of them have tutorials on how to put together your new machine, how to run your new machine, how to sew a basic line stitch with your
Hmm.
new machine. If you have no clue and you like literally were like, I went, well, Joann's is closed now. I went to Michael's and bought a sewing machine because I want to learn how to
Wow.
sew. And then you're like, now where do I go? Go online, look up the machine's name, and I guarantee you there's a video of how to set
Definitely.
it up,
That's what I
how
did.
how to how to sew the first
Yes.
line, and if the like the brand itself explanation is too technical, because sometimes they do get a little technical
Right.
termy in there, and you're a new person, you might not know what a bobbin foot is, and
I
you're
didn't
like, wait,
know.
what?
I didn't know that.
Like, yeah, so and then they say you put the bobbin into the bed of the foot. You're gonna be like, the what, into the what? Like, there are more direct and not so
Hmm.
wordy tutorials
Yeah,
out
like
there
a
as
grandma
well.
thing. She don't go to any technical stuff. She just show what to do, right? At the spot.
Yeah,
Do like
yeah,
this, and that's it. You don't have to go in the technical terms
exactly.
to do that.
No, you
Right.
don't. You don't. You can explain to people without using the technical terms. You can totally be like, hey, the little circle thing that has the little
Yeah.
holes in it. Yeah, you're going to put that in the little circle thing that has a
Okay.
middle hole in it. Like, you don't have to, you can get descriptive. And a lot of the like not brand tutorials out there who get
Hmm.
descriptive. Also, there are a lot of fashion teachers out there
Okay.
right now that really just want people to learn about sewing and the fashion industry, and they have YouTube already set up, like
Right.
tutorials of how to make your first skirt, how to make your first sundress, like the more easy, basic
Hmm.
stuff. Like, right now, where I'm going, I have a teacher named Manette, and she has a whole YouTube
Wow.
channel that teaches
Hmm.
you everything that we learn in school. She has it online.
Perfect. Is that for publicly?
Yep, she has it open for
Wow.
public. I will happily provide you the link after
Sure.
this, and you can share
Yeah.
it, because she's a
Of
great
course.
teacher. She goes really into the
Hmm.
detail. She shows you what she's doing. She's not like, do this and then she
Right.
disappears. It's do this as she's doing it. Kind of like what we were saying, like how grandma
Exactly.
teaches you. She just says, okay, watch me do it. All right, you saw? Okay, do
Wow.
it now.
That's amazing. Yeah, to just let the teacher know that I promoted you if she gets a lot of views. Well,
I
no,
will. I will.
that's
Yeah.
actually good. You can just go online and search for resources. But in this era, if your mom is strict or your parents are strict with a computer, then you have to go bother and your biggest sister, like you did.
Yeah, you gotta go bother. You gotta go bother somebody. There's also most public
Hmm.
libraries offer
Yeah,
some
yeah,
kind
that's
of
right.
courses. Um, most public libraries here in the
Exactly.
U.S. at least uh, offer like courses, little tutorial videos. Like you could totally find a lot of stuff at your public
And it's
library if you don't
right.
have the ability.
Because I went to the library about 3 4 months ago. It's they have a lot of courses and resources that you can access to. Because nowadays people just think if you're going to the library, we just gonna read the books. So it's not just limited
Yeah,
to that.
no,
It's ton of stuff in the library, and especially if you're in the
ton
state
of
or you
stuff.
at your county, you're paying taxes. It's gonna be free of cost. You just don't have to, or maybe there's a
Exactly.
small fee, some of the courses, but it's your right to do that.
Half, I believe half the time you just have to have a library
Yeah,
card, and getting a
exactly.
library card is
It
free. It's
is.
just
Hmm.
registering.
That's right. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I just said. Nowadays, the resources and everything is there. You just have to move. That's it.
Yep, you just have to
You-
find it. You have to be like, okay, what type of resource works
Right.
for me? For me, I prefer the
Hmm.
physical. So I prefer calling my
Yeah.
sister and going into the library and being in school. But if you can learn via
Hmm.
YouTube videos and only
Right.
YouTube videos, go you. But if that's not for you and you don't have, like you said, the ability to go to
Right.
school, use your public
Exactly.
library. Like you said, you pay the taxes
Yeah.
for it, use your public
Right. And
service.
especially, it's not that if one door closes and that's it, you're just gonna sit. If one door closes, there are a ton of
No,
others that you could go through. You just have to be passionate about it,
exactly.
whatever it is, not just clothing, but whatever it is, especially in the US.
Anything, yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is
Right.
very
So that
right.
was a very interesting, and I love that we go off the layout that we had. But that's what but
We did.
yeah, that's what I said. Remember, I said it's just a guide that we can have at that day, but we'll definitely go off, and we're gonna have more interesting talk than we have scripted, because right, not like
Yeah,
this, you express more, you come up with your own thoughts, and you with the unique thing that you can't write, or if you write it you cannot speak as that way. And now we're gonna come to the topic that you discussed before, but I didn't go into it because I was just waiting for the right time. It's about your brand, the Lillium Floss. It is such a
yeah,
unique brand that you're doing, and the things that you explained me behind the scenes when we were having an intro call. I want to learn more, and I would love to you to share more about it to the people, because how unique it is that you're doing about this, please.
yeah. So Lillium Floss is it's named after me, which I'm named after my grandpa's favorite
Hmm.
flower. Lillium Floss literally translates to lily
Yes.
flower, and Azucena is a lily flower indigenous to Mexico.
I'm sorry,
Um,
I'm cutting you off, but I'm gonna say the same exact line that I said in the intro call. That's why I was smelling something good. Because it's a flower.
yes,
Yeah, you're
yes,
here. I'm sorry, that was
yes.
kind of off, but yeah, I said it.
You're good. It's spreading. It's spreading. I'm all about spreading beautiful vibes
You
and
are.
like flowers. Flowers do that. Like I and yeah. So
Okay.
thank you, thank you. Um, but yeah, that's what my brand is like. What it's named after is myself, and just kind of like a touch to my heritage because my grandpa named me. He was my first father figure. Like had a lot to me, meant a
Hmm.
lot to me, and just like growing up while being in love with fashion, I was like, my culture and my family mean just as much to me. So how can I intertwine the two?
Right.
And I felt like that was the best way was to give recognition by giving them the
Hmm.
name. Um, but with that, my brand is all about being sustainable. I really believe in trying to avoid the fast fashion industry as much as possible. No need to get rid of your closet and keep buying new
Hmm.
things. Um, what I really do is recreate is what I like to like how I like to
Okay.
categorize it. You give me your closet, we'll make you a new wardrobe.
Beautiful.
You want a new wardrobe, but you don't like the materials in your
Hmm.
closet, that's okay. I'll take those. I'll take your
Hmm.
materials and I can use them for another
Hmm.
client. And we can find you some recycled fabrics, some dead stock, try to minimize our
Right.
impact into the
Yes.
landfill by also using thrifted clothing or thrifted textiles. Like so many people get rid of bed sheets and uh, covers and towels and like just a bunch of other stuff, like all types of textiles that you can definitely use to create new
Hmm.
things. Which is what I'm like all about. I believe in creating new things from the
Right.
old.
Wow.
And so much so that like I want to do it for
Hmm.
everybody. Like everybody deserves it, including those with
Hmm.
disabilities. Um, because I myself have one. I have chronic
God
pelvic pain,
bless.
and
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about this more, please.
that
I wanted to go
yeah
in more details now in the podcast than we talked about this before, because it's such a unique concept, because everybody has the right to, look beautiful, wear something nice, and but of course it's a world, uh life's not fair sometime, and you have the disability, it's by the god, it's the nature. But how
yeah
you help the people to come up and to empower themselves and be confident whatever they wear or whatever they wanted to wear and look good in that.
yeah it's all about
Hmm.
that. It's about making sure a person is comfortable. So for me personally, with my chronic
Hmm.
pain, pelvic pain, I can't wear certain type of styles of pants, like the mid-rise pants. They sit on a nerve that just like puts me in a lot
Hmm.
of pain. So I have to get creative with what type of like high rise. If I buy a mid rise or if somebody gifted me a mid rise, I would have to alter
Hmm.
that. I recently had a client where they have autism and they have sensory issues. There's a lot of fabrics that they don't like touching them. They've found out that they only like
Hmm.
cotton. And then they were like, hey, I found this really comfy bed sheet that I really like, but like I don't need a king size bed
Hmm.
sheet. What can I do
Okay.
with it? And we decided on making them a dress because of their sensory issues. They don't like the idea of stuff touching them
Out
too
of the bed.
tightly, too clingy. Yeah, out of the
Wow.
bed sheet because they were like, hey, I like the way this feels
Oh,
on my
okay.
skin.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, if you can tolerate that feeling on your
Hmm.
skin and you want to be able to like wear a nice dress when you go out with your
Right.
friend, but you don't have a nice dress that you feel
Hmm.
comfortable in, don't worry. I got you. We can make it
Beautiful.
happen. Sorry. They we went with a flowy
Hmm.
dress. They really like having their arms
Okay.
squeezed, so we went with cuff
Okay.
sleeves, so their sleeves were tight on them, while the rest of the dress was
Hmm.
flowy. And they were in love with it. They say they always wear it. They were like, I never thought I could feel comfortable in clothes.
Wow.
So like providing that to somebody and knowing from my own experience, like being comfortable in your own clothes is
It
so
is. It
important.
is.
It helps with your confidence. It helps with just like your mental
Hmm.
well-being. Like it just helps overall, especially for somebody with some type of disability, whether it's sensory issues or nerve issues
Right.
like myself. Like being able to be like, I don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to be uncomfortable in a few hours, so I'm going to have to
Hmm.
leave or whatever the situation. Like just being able to feel comfortable in your own
Hmm.
clothes is what I want to provide for people. And those with disability, like a lot of clothing in the fashion industry does not accommodate for those with
Right.
disabilities. Like, I personally believe that those with like amputees, they have the right to have clothing that looks just as good on them as it does on
Right.
everybody else. Like, they don't have to have that like all the torn off part on their sleeve or on their pants. Like, you can totally get that fixed to make it look like it's a full sleeve on your amputee arm or a full leg on your amputated
Right.
leg. Like, you can definitely figure things out. And me, I want to do that. And I also know, because I, once again, am disabled, that those of us on disability are on a fixed income. We don't have the luxury of being like, oh, I want to go shopping and buy new clothes because I don't like the way my clothes fit. That's not always an
Right.
option. So I like to make sure that I'm affordable. You can get alterations at a affordable rate, not a cheap rate. Still have
The
to pay my
ethical
bills,
way.
and I still have
So
to,
it's for fair
yeah,
for
the
both
ethical
the
way.
client and the person who was, doing the work, right?
Exactly. Fair for
Both
both of
parties,
us,
right?
but still
Mm.
affordable.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. So how you were telling me about the size and all that. So if a person with this kind of a unique situation, when you're, asking for how do you ask them the things or the sizing, how you do that? How is the whole process? Can you walk us through how you start with
Yeah, of
this?
course. So normally, somebody reaches out and is like, "Hey, I have an
Okay.
idea," and I'm like, give me your idea. I'm happy to see what I can do. And that's kind of
Mhm.
what they did. They reached out and they were like, hey, I have an idea. I have this
Mhm.
bed sheet. I want it to turn into something. I don't know what to turn it into.
Okay.
And that's where I
Right.
step in. It's like, okay, you have this idea, you know what you want to do, you just don't know how
Right.
to do it. I sat down with them and I just started asking them, what type of clothing do they like to wear? Like, when they do go shopping and they're able to find something, what is it that makes them feel
Mhm.
comfortable? What is it? A long dress? Is it pants? Is it shorts? Skirt? Like, what silhouette makes them
Okay.
comfortable? And that's where I start. I like to start off on your silhouette. Let's figure out what you like to
Mhm.
wear. Okay. Once you know what you like to wear, normally falls into the same category, but sometimes not. What are you comfortable in?
Mhm.
Like, what type of things do you feel like you can lounge at the house, go shopping, you can do everything in? Like, what
Right.
is that? And normally those two align. Very rarely have I had it not
Mhm.
align. But it has happened where a person's like, oh, I really like comfort and like being comfy. And then I ask them, what do they feel confident in? They're like, sexy, tight stuff. And I'm like, wait, okay, hold on.
I know I was about to come there, but
You're kind of,
I'll ask a question later. But you go on, please.
but yeah, it's just like,
Okay.
okay, so by doing that, I figure out what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you feel
Mm.
comfortable in? What is it that you like that you feel confident in, because we want to make sure we have that. And then if they're a person with a disability and they let me know, hey, I have a disability and we're going to need to design for that, then it's okay. Let me start asking you a little more personal
Okay.
questions. What's your disability like? What struggles do you have with your
Mhm.
disability? Like, I've had a person where I changed all their waistbands because they have a very quick bladder and they can't just undo the button real quickly and use the
Wow.
bathroom.
Mhm.
So we changed their
Mm.
waistbands completely to
Okay.
drawstring only because they still wanted to be able
Right.
to
To
like
tighten up and
feel like they
right.
had, yeah, that they feel they had some sense of
Right.
security rather than just an elastic
Exactly.
band. So, like, I asked that, like, and I did ask them which route would they prefer, an elastic band, a drawstring, or I have this other method and I forget the
Mhm.
name of it, but it's like basically it's adjustable. You have buttons on the side and you can snap them as you go for the waist, like how tight you want it, how
Mhm.
loose you want it. Um, and like offered that to them, and they're like, I want the drawstring. So it's just it's just kind of like what we're doing. It's just sitting down, talking to the person, figuring them out, and being like, okay, this is how I can help
Wow.
you.
I mean, this is so unique. I mean, it's a whole process. It's not just easy like us. We just, I mean, people who buy fast fashion, they just get up and just go to the store and buy this, and that's it. Come back. It's
No,
not a quick thing. It's not a 5 minute thing.
no,
It's a whole process.
no, it's not a 5 minute thing. It is a whole process, but it's a process that's gonna get you something that's gonna last you a lifetime. Like you're gonna have something that you're gonna be comfortable in that's gonna last you, because I also believe in like avoiding fast fashion. So if for whatever reason you go to town on your outfit and your outfit gets almost torn to shreds, and like it's
Hmm.
in titters and tatters, like you washed it a million times, and for whatever reason it's starting to deteriorate or decompose, I will happily replace it. I will happily, as long as you pay shipping, or if you're local, then let's just meet up somewhere and I'll take
Hmm.
care of it. But I will happily remend
Yeah.
your stuff for you,
Wow.
because there's no reason, if you have something
Hmm.
you love, you need to get rid of it.
Hmm. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, of
Because
course.
yeah,
Definitely. So yeah, I was about to, you said locally or pay for shipping. If the person is live across the other states of the US, how you can help them is like a kind of Zoom call, or what's
yeah.
the process? How you do that?
So the dress I made for the person, they actually live in
Okay.
Delaware.
Oh, near me.
So it is oh yeah, so it is just like we have a Zoom, we talk, I pick your brain, I tell you what I can offer you, I show you some other options if you're like, I want to see, if you're more of a visual
Hmm.
learner than I am
Okay.
myself. I have samples that I can
Hmm.
show you, or we can just verbally
Hmm.
talk. um and then after that, I send you to a seamstress in your
Hmm.
location to get my measurements.
Oh.
If for whatever reason you don't have the ability to go to the seamstress and provide the information
Okay.
I need, then I ask you to pick out your favorite fitting
Okay.
clothing, your favorite fitting pair
Hmm.
of pants, if you're wanting me to make
Okay.
you pants, your favorite shirt or dress or whatever item that we're going to be
Okay.
making. I ask you for
Hmm.
that pair, and ask you to send it to me, because we're going to go off that sizing.
Mm.
Because if you like the way it fits and it's
Yes.
comfortable, that means it
Right.
fits you, and we can
Easy.
match the sizing to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
If for whatever reason you're like, I don't want to go to a seamstress, I don't want to get
Hmm.
measured, I don't want somebody touching me,
Right.
that's okay. Some people have
Yeah.
touching
Yeah.
issues. I get that.
Totally.
There's other options that we can
Wow.
find.
I mean, I love that how much you go into the details. And even though you go to the details and technical stuff, you kept it so simple, like a grandma. Yeah, it's a good
Oh,
term.
we got it. We
Yeah.
got
I
it.
mean, I didn't realize it before, but now I'm gonna use this term, a grandma term. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's my
grandma
grandma.
term. Exactly. Wow. That's I mean super easy if the person just wanted to do it either way, you could do that locally or across the other side. It's just amazing. So what yeah, I was asking that, you are doing such an amazing job. You have whole system that you go through, checklist, one by one step. But what are the other things that you are trying to implement in this process to make it more easier, more accessible, and more viral to reach out to the people and people get to aware of it more?
That is a great
Hmm.
question. Right now, I'm just kind of word of mouthing it,
Hmm.
just like going out there. I live in the Bay Area, so I live here in San
Hmm.
Francisco. I've just been kind of, yeah, word of mouthing it. As of right now, I have no desire to upscale
Hmm.
too much, because it is just me and I am in
Okay.
school. Um, but I have my
Hmm.
website and I do share it. I do let people know what I do. I happily give knowledge when I
Okay.
can. But as far as like near future of
Hmm.
growing, I just trying to get this degree so I can
Yeah,
have the technical background behind me. But after that, I do want to, like I said in the beginning, I want to be like Chanel. I want my
definitely.
brand to be out there and be accessible and be known. And I feel like the best way for me to do that is by doing things like this, by meeting people in the
Hmm.
industry and sharing my knowledge
Right,
and picking for
right.
yours, and like just
Of
meeting more
course.
people, getting my name
Hmm.
out there. And my plans to do that is kind of just like, it's kind of doing just that, just
Hmm.
putting myself out there, just being like, hey, I am Azucena. This is my brand, Lillium
Yeah,
Flos. I would really like to talk to
right.
you about it, and start
Yeah, no,
talking.
I mean, it's such a unique concept. I'm not saying that there would be no other one who is doing this right now, but I feel like there's a huge gap because I'm in New
Yeah,
York. I actually didn't see anyone yet, or I didn't try to do my research too in this thing, but I think there should be a lot of, because I know some of the people who are in HHA. I don't know if you know about the term, the home health aid thing, and the hospital
okay.
things. So I was actually having a conversation with them, and they were telling me about, how the patients feel, um have the difficulty wearing the clothes, because after our conversation I got curious, and I know some of the people who are in this field, and I know some of the doctors, one of my friends. I asked them, and they were telling me that's exactly the thing. And you mentioned that some people are not, they're not okay if somebody touches them or itch them, or they just don't want anyone else around them, or there are so many things that
There are.
it's a huge industry, I would say. This is the first thing. And the second thing I'm gonna say, wow, that's amazing. I mean, you're doing this much as a student. I would never imagine doing that myself. As a student, you did this much with all the systems, with all the things. It's just amazing. It's just amazing, being honest.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a unique thing that you could do about this. So yeah, that's the whole industry that we just talked about. And of course, you mentioned that you also be sustainable, be want to support that, and you explained a little bit about it. But can you little can you explain a little more about how sustainability is important to you, and how you're gonna implement through your brand, or how we should actually globalize this thing and be more focused, because still there are not so many people who are focused on the sustainability.
Yeah, no, it is. It truly is. I mean, to me, it's
Mhm.
sad that there are a lot of people who are even aware that of the term
Yeah,
fast fashion, like that don't get that the places like Sheen and Temu are unethical and are also like just really bad for the
yeah,
environment. Um, so for me, my thing is all about the efficacy and making sure that we're conscious about the environment. That's why I'm like, if you don't want to use your current materials, we can totally use other materials that are already in circulation.
mhm,
Don't have to go buy a new textile. You don't have to
yeah.
go buy a new garment. Like we can totally. There are ways to do it without
Yeah, I
going and buying
remember you
a
told me
new.
to go, if somebody wants something, you can go to the thrift store, or upcycling things, or repurposing that, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Like I love to do some
Mm-hmm.
repurposing. You can do it with interior design, you can do it with your regular
Mm-hmm.
design. Like there's so many ways that you can upcycle with the materials that end up in the
Right.
landfill. But I also like strongly believe that we have to be
Mm-hmm.
conscious of what we're
Okay.
doing. So that's why like when I do go thrifting, I am looking at what I'm thrifting, because obviously you don't want to pick something that's gonna fall apart already. Like if something's already in tether and tatters, it's probably not gonna
Mm-hmm.
last long. Um So you want to make sure you're picking the good quality things that are in there. If you are picking the lesser quality, maybe use it as a lining, or, think about how you're using it. Think about how you're using the resources in from the thrift stores, or from the flea markets, or from, I know some people here in the Bay Area, I've met some who go dumpster diving and like will wash the
Hmm.
stuff and like deep clean
Right.
wash it, and then, you know, bring it back to life and be like, yep, I have the new Air
Right.
Jordans because somebody spilled something on it, didn't want to clean it, but I
Hmm.
cleaned it, now I got them. So like, doing stuff like that for me, I think is something that everybody should be doing. You don't have to go as extreme as
Yeah.
dumpster diving. There's a ton of flea
Yeah.
markets. There's a ton of thrift stores all throughout the United States. I
Yeah.
feel like I used to work at an antique thrift
Hmm.
store. Like, there's so many. You can definitely
Hmm.
find a lot of things in there, textile wise. Grandmas back then used to make doilies like they were a thing to do. So you can totally make like a bunch of stuff out of doilies.
What is
Like,
doilies?
that's textile right there. Doilies are those little lace, like circular tea holdings. Like, you put your teapot on them. Circular
Um,
lace.
I'll search for that.
They're kind of like,
Yeah. No, no, it's
sorry,
totally fine. Thank you
I'm
for
really
that. I'm gonna search, or maybe I know that, but I can't remember it at this time. Probably have seen that.
it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
word. Yeah, it's probably a terminology,
Hmm.
like district,
Okay.
like different parts of the United States calls everything's different. So it might be, you know.
Right. Thank you so much. Just be more ethical, be more sustainable, and be more kind to the people. That's the only thing that matters the most if you want to be a good human being. So yeah, thank you so much, Susanna. It was such a pleasure to have you. I mean, I cannot say how much I enjoyed it, our conversation. So we'll definitely continue later on. And we'll looking forward to see you again. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to you guys, and I'll looking forward to see you with the next webisode. Bye bye.